My mother-in-law demanded I sign over my $1.8 million inheritance to the family trust. This is family business, she said, bringing a lawyer. I smiled, refused to sign the papers, and quietly left. 2 weeks later, when I discovered why she was so insistent, this is the story of how a control-obsessed mother-in-law prepared her own downfall, and how a young woman fought to protect her inheritance. Sarah Mitchell's calm determination became a massive shock for Patricia Coleman and exposed the family's hidden debts. If you've ever had relatives who eyed your money, Sarah's story will feel familiar. But pay attention. How this story ends might surprise you, because what Sarah discovered revealed exactly why Patricia was so insistent. What started in this Atlanta, Georgia home didn't just expose a family's dark secrets, it completely changed Sarah's life. And now you're about to learn the full extent of that change. Sarah Mitchell sat in the kitchen of her small Atlanta home, reading an email from lawyer Marcus Chen. She was 29 years old and learning the final details about the inheritance she'd received from her grandmother Eleanor. What the email contained would change her life. 3 rental apartments, worth a total of $1.8 million. Eleanor Washington had been the strongest woman in Sarah's life. After losing her husband at 40, she'd raised 2 children alone and quietly built a small real estate empire. Sarah had thought her grandmother only owned the small house where she lived. The truth was much bigger. "Sarah, these properties are entirely yours," lawyer Marcus Chen had told her. Eleanor gave very clear instructions. These assets will never come under anyone else's control, especially not after marriage. 6 months after marrying David, Sarah was still keeping this inheritance secret, because Eleanor's warning echoed in her ears. "Sarah, money changes people. You need to protect what you owned before marriage." The first family dinner had taken place at Patricia's luxury home in Buckhead. Patricia sat at the head of the table with her expensive jewelry and perfect makeup, surveying Sarah from head to toe. "So, you work in marketing," Patricia had said, as if smelling something bad. "That industry is very unstable, isn't it? Especially for young women?" Increased tension and paranoia show Patricia's invasive behavior with growing concern. Use a slightly darker, more suspicious tone as the investigation becomes clear. 3 months later, Patricia's true face began to emerge. She started making unexpected visits to Sarah's apartment. "I just want to see that my son is happy," she would say, but her eyes scanned every corner of the house. Once, she had come when Sarah wasn't home and started asking David questions about Sarah's financial situation. "Son, does Sarah have savings? I mean, money she saved before marriage?" David had been uncomfortable. "Mom, these matters are Sarah's private business." Another day, when Sarah was returning home from work, she had seen Patricia in front of her apartment building. The woman was talking to a real estate consultant about the building. "How many apartments are in this building?" Patricia was asking. "What are the rental prices?" Sarah had listened before getting out of her car. Patricia was investigating her living standards. One day, David came home looking upset. "Mom wants to talk to you," David said uncomfortably. "About family financial matters?" Sarah's heart raced. Patricia coming to her house would be the first time outside of unexpected visits. The next day, Sarah had left work early, come home, and cleaned. At exactly 3 o'clock, the door rang. When Sarah opened the door, she saw Patricia. But she wasn't alone. Next to her was a middle-aged man in an expensive suit. "Hello, Sarah," Patricia said, smiling but with cold eyes. "This is Mr. Williams, our family legal expert. He has some matters he wants to discuss with you." Sarah had frozen. No one had told her a legal expert would be brought. "Sarah, as the Coleman family, we keep all our assets in a family trust. This way, we avoid taxes and provide legal protection. You should also become part of this system with your marriage." Sarah began flipping through the papers. On the second page, she found what she was looking for. Trust managers will be Patricia Coleman and Robert Coleman. Sarah put the papers down on the table. "No." Patricia was surprised. "What?" "No. These assets are mine. I won't give them to anyone's control." Sarah took out her phone and called David. She put it on speaker. "David, your mother is here. She came with a lawyer. They want me to transfer my grandmother's inheritance to the family trust."
"I understand, Mom, and I understand that Sarah is right. This is her property, not your decision." Patricia jumped up. "This is disrespectful." "What's disrespectful is bringing a lawyer to my house without notice," Sarah said. "Please leave."
3 days later, David came home tense. His face was pale, his eyes tired. "I talked to Mom," he said, collapsing into the chair. "I asked why she was so insistent." Sarah waited. She could hear her heartbeat. "Dad's business is in trouble. They have big debts. Mom was seeing your inheritance as a rescue plan." Sarah's jaw dropped. How much debt? $800,000. The next week, Patricia called again. This time, her voice was different, softer, but still calculating. "Sarah, can we talk? There are things we need to explain to you." Sarah called Marcus Chen. "I want to talk to them, but in a safe place. Let's meet in my office. I'll be present too." On the meeting day, Patricia and Robert Coleman came to Marcus's office in downtown Atlanta. Patricia's previous bandit confidence was gone. Robert looked tired and defeated. "Sarah," Patricia said, her voice lower than ever, "maybe we approached wrong at the beginning." "You definitely approached wrong," Sarah confirmed. "Now I want to hear the truth." Robert began to speak. "Our business is in trouble. We suffered big losses in the real estate market. $800,000 debt, most of it bank loans." Sarah leaned back. "And you thought my inheritance would solve this."
"I have conditions," Sarah continued. "If you don't accept them, there's no help. First, Robert must hand over business management to a professional team. Second, all family members must receive professional financial counseling. Third, Patricia must never interfere with my assets again. In no way. If you accept these conditions, I'll sell one of my rental apartments to pay off the debt. If you don't accept them, you can look out for yourselves." Robert finally spoke. "We accept. You're right, Sarah. We apologize." Patricia was still silent. "Patricia?" Sarah said. "I accept," Patricia said, gritting her teeth. 3 months later, the Coleman family business had come under professional management. Most of the debts had been paid with the apartment Sarah sold. Patricia still behaved coldly, but now respected Sarah's boundaries. Sarah had not only protected Eleanor's inheritance, but also saved a family from financial collapse. But most importantly, she had found her own voice. When David came home one evening, she found Sarah reviewing financial reports at the kitchen table. "I'm establishing a foundation in Eleanor's name," Sarah said. "It will teach young women financial literacy. Eleanor didn't just leave me money. She left me power, the power to stand on my own feet. And it's time to share this power with other women." And that's how Sarah Mitchell didn't just protect her inheritance. She also saved a family from ruin and set her own terms. Sarah's story reminds us of something important. Sometimes the greatest help is not allowing others to control your money, because real family respects each other's boundaries.